So a question that I'm asked a lot, is it hard to make money from photography? Well, categorically, no, it's not. But it is hard to replace big salaries or even salaries at times. Depends on what you're doing. So the simple answer, it's not hard to actually make money, but it is hard to replace a salary. The answer is yes, no matter what. Um, if your salary is medium to high, I think there's more issues in replacing that salary in the first, say, 12 months than it is actually in the longer term. If you're on a low salary, basic salary, then basically, no, it's not hard to replace that. We do have to kind of look at the whole year and divide it by, and that's something we're going to kind of tackle today. We need to actually look at how we can actually ensure that a kind of the business start is going to be a success from the beginning, instead of actually trying to put too much pressure on itself and things really. So as far as the breaking down, if you kind of think about it, the first thing I always encourage you to do, no matter what level you're starting off at, is instead of looking at whatever salary that you have and basically how you're going to replace that as a kind of a complete picture, we've got to look first of all at the profit level, because obviously that is something that many small businesses forget to actually take account of. Obviously, if you're working from home, pretty much you're still going to have some costs, memberships, running costs, camera, insurance, etc. So you're going to have some kind of cost no matter what. And if you're going to have a shop premises, of course, those costs are going to be drastically increased no matter what. So as far as the profit is concerned, there's going to be different things for you. But as a rule of thumb, I try and kind of get you to think about things of a third. So in other words, if you think of a third of turnover is cost of products, run-in, blah, blah, blah. A third of it is going to be taken over in taxation, etc., running costs, accountancy fees, and so on. And then basically there's going to be a third left. And then out of that is what is going to be paying towards your salary in some way. So initially break that down. If you really wanted to look at it in a more precise way, obviously business planning, looking at the whole year, working out everything to the penny is absolutely key. So you can either work in the 1-3 kind of scenario like I just suggested to you, or you can work in the 1-5. So in other words, you're going to end up with 20% of what you kind of turn over is going to end up in your pocket. And then obviously the 80% is going to be taken over with lots of other things, especially if you're running a shop premises. No matter what salary you're trying to replace, the 1-5 is a kind of a guide, as a kind of a good rule to work with anyway. So anyway, I talked about kind of looking at the whole year. So let's say you need to turn over £120,000 to be able to put the likes of 30 or 40,000 pounds into you before taxes or whatever it would be. Yeah. So that's the 1-3 rule. Yeah. Now what I would do is basically work on the 12 months and then break that down by, first of all, each month, which goes without saying. So 120k, it'll kind of divided by your 12, you get to your figure. And then you divide that by the week, so the 52 weeks of the year. So that kind of is common sense, and that's where you might think to start. But in fact, you'll probably not work for 52 weeks of the year. So in fact, when we start to look at the 120 grand, in fact, it's not based over 52 weeks of the year. It's more likely to be between 42 weeks and 48 weeks. So that's where you start to really look at how you can kind of envisage what you need to turn over on a weekly level based on the 42 weeks or to the 48 weeks maximum that you're going to work during the course of the year. That's a better kind of guide. That then will actually give you your figure. Once you've done that, you can divide that one figure, yes, the amount left, to the day. So you can divide it by 5, or if you're only able to work for 4 days a week, divided by 4. And that is going to give you some idea on what you need to actually take for each of the jobs that you're going to take on, whether it's a portrait, a commercial job, etc. I'll get into that now in a minute. But you're then going to end up with at least a figure that you're aiming towards to make sure that the business is going to survive and flourish as well with it. So when we start to look at that, we can start to look at the way that it kind of breaks down. So if I want to earn money as, say, a commercial photographer, you'll be earning money based on your skill set. You'll also be based on an hourly rate or a half-day rate or a full-day rate. And very little outgoing costs, except for the usual running costs: the car, the studio lighting, or portable lighting, your cameras, your Adobe subscriptions, your email, your website, etc. So all of those kind of costs, you're still going to have costs, even if you're a photographer with a bag and you're working on location, so don't have a set room within your home. So as a commercial photographer, you're going to be earning your money truly on your time. And then you'll be earning a little bit more money on kind of the rights of the image usage, selling extra things like prints for the wall, etc. But if I was you, I would identify that you are going to earn your money as a commercial photographer, and that's how you are going to get paid, rather than all the extras on top. So the extras will be the cream on the top of the coffee, where basically the skill set hours that you work are going to be the coffee itself, and use that as a kind of a starting point. Then it's a bit of a flip as a portrait photographer, because usually your main work salary is going to be earned from products sold rather than the session fees itself. Now, obviously, the further along your career, you're going to earn more money. You're going to be able to basically charge for sessions at a higher price, and for the different kind of skill sets and creative sessions that you're going to be doing. But as a portrait photographer, the majority of your turnover is going to be based on product sales, which could be packages, it could be individual a la carte wall, multi-wall art, etc. But your income is going to be based on products sold and the profit within it. Once more, when we're looking at the profit within that job, I would definitely work on the 1/5. So in other words, the cost of the product should cost you no more than 20% of what you're actually selling it for. So if something costs you £100 to buy delivered to your door, you should be selling that somewhere around the £500 out to the client, if you can get away with the kind of the sales price and so on with it. As a rule of thumb, again, don't sell it any less than 2.5 to 3 times the cost of product. What I would ensure that you do, though, is in the early days specifically, is that you really take hold of product cost right at the beginning. And it doesn't mean because a product is perhaps not costing you a huge amount compared to other things that you're selling it for less. Remember, these times buy are just a guide. There's a kind of how much is somebody willing to pay for it is really what you will build into your business model. No different to walking down the high street in retail. You could walk into a budget clothing shop and spend 50 quid, and you could walk into a high street kind of high-end store and not be able to spend £50 on anything at all. So again, there are positions where the cost of product is being priced accordingly to where you are and where you feel and where your mindset is as well with it. If we flip that as a wedding photographer, again, you actually go back to being more like a commercial photographer, where in fact you're being paid for your skill sets and services. And then in addition, you're going to be selling the likes of albums or extra things if you've included in a package and so on. But you will be earning your money based on your services once more. As a headshot photographer, you would basically be earning your money very, very similarly to a commercial photographer, except you're going to be bundling in X amount of digital or print within the kind of the services that you offer. As a landscape photographer, you'll earn your money again a bit more like a portrait photographer. However, you should also be allowing for a commission to be taken by selling your landscape photography, your fine art photography, on the high street or through a third party sales. So you're probably going to lose about 20 to 30% as a minimum. So you want to be allowing that when you're creating the cost of your product as well with things really. But, going back to the question, it's not hard to make money in photography, or is it hard to make money in photography? No, it's not. But it is hard to replace a salary straight out of at the gate, as it were. I would definitely encourage you to think of this as a long term. You definitely want to have a buffer of about 3 to 6 months worth of salary on hand, if possible, to allow less pressure on the business. However, I want you to be earning money within kind of weeks of actually getting it launched. And then, as I said, break the business turnover down by the months or by the weeks and then by the days, so you can identify how much money you need to actually physically earn. I hope this film helps. We've got a little bit of an Excel that we kind of use as a guide within my experience group, and we'll be making a film on showing you how we use that as well, to kind of get some idea on if the business is going to work or not for you.